Yes, folks, hello, welcome once again to MoDXtra Games and Collectibles. I hope you're well. I'm Chris, this is my channel, and it's an absolute pleasure to have you with me here today. Hopefully you've been around these parts before, and you've chosen to return. But you'll have seen the thumbnail. You'll know that today's video is on the subject of Fresh Monkey Fiction's Soldiers of Fortune line. I'm still playing a little bit of catch-up on kind of Christmassy and New Year'sy stuff, things that were going on through Christmas and into the new year, and the pre-orders for these became available in the first week of the year. So they re-hit my radar. I know they were marketed a little while ago, and I spoke about them a little bit on our live stream, but they re-hit my radar. I got all excited. The UK supplier over here, Kapow Toys, in their social media update said now available for pre-order. So I got all excited again, and it's more of note to me, I'm paying it much more particular attention because the Operation Monster Force figures that I picked up that arrived around the autumn time last year? Well, whatever it was. Well, I ordered them a bazillion years ago, but they arrived in like autumn 2024. Anyway, what was I saying? They were like the surprise hit for me. I really enjoyed those figures. I was very excited about them. They got me more excited about a kind of boutique niche 6-inch line, more so than any other sort of boutique 6-inch line that I've had my hands on. You know, they've overtaken a number of figure lines that I dipped my toe into. So much so that I'm watching with real interest the stuff that they've got lined up for 2025 with the Soldiers of Fortune, the Orders of the Crimson Moon, and the new next Operation Monster Force stuff. Even though I think it's all the same. I think it's like the same universe because there's a lot of reuse and stuff going on in between the figures, and I think they're supposed to be a synergy amongst them all. And it may well be the case that the Operation Monster Force stuff goes up in my little kind of league table and starts to overtake, has a real potential to overtake the likes of Marvel Legends and DC Multiverse, and Valaverse, and some of the other figure lines that I sort of dip my toe into. G.I. Joe Classified will remain my main line, my main collector line at the minute. But anyway, that's why I'm interested in it. That's why I'm doing the video today, because these are the figures that have gone up for pre-order, and I want to take a closer look, share my thoughts with you guys, and ask you to join me in conversation in the comments down below to share your thoughts about them too. So let's do it. Let's get into it. And getting us started, we have 3 army builders in the line. On the screen right now, we have the first of 3. It's the Close Combat Operative, and this particular one is in the red and black camo. Just as a side note, these retail in the US for $37.99, retail over here in the UK for £36.99. The BigBadToyStore's got them up for pre-order. I think it says like Q3 2025. Kapow Toys has got them estimated more specifically for September, but these things are all subject to change, and we'll see how that pans out. But I bring that up at this point because I want to reference some of the value and quality that's going into this. And there's quite a few kind of notable points about it. And the first kind of notable element of all this is the fact that the weaponry is provided by Gridiron Studios, that they've got a collaboration there that's contributing to these figures that's of a high pedigree. If you've been in the 6-inch military line game for a while, you've likely heard of them, you're familiar with them, you might have seen people on Instagram using their stuff to take more interesting photos with these kind of more elaborate loadouts that they've built for figures in G.I. Joe Classified is where I've specifically seen their stuff a lot. So they've got a great reputation. They are pricey, but they're a small business, and their prices are reflective of the cost. But the fact that they're collaborating and contributing to the loadouts on these figures is definitely a massive plus, a big tick in the box. And for someone like me who struggles to get his hands on Gridiron Studio stuff, even though it looks great and I want to get my hands on some Gridiron Studio stuff, because the shipping to the UK is extortionate. By the way, they're a pricey proposition in the first instance, but then to ship their stuff to the UK is a fortune. It means that I can get some Gridiron style loadout stuff in my collection too. And what a selection of stuff it is. There's a wealth of gear here. We've got like a little kind of submachine gun assault rifle thing with magazines and I don't know, what's that, like some sort of suppressor or something. We've got the pistol here, which has got that classic, what's that, a Beretta, is it? And the Mel Gibson lethal weapon pistol, as I know it. But then over on the other side here, we've got the helmet gear, the face mask gear, all the kind of communication tools like the headsets and pieces and the night vision. So all really great stuff. And if that's all sculpted by Gridiron Studios, you know you're getting quality detail in that stuff there. So not only is it, you know, great value that you've got all that stuff chucked in, but the people who they're collaborating with providing that make it a much more notable collection. As far as an army builder figure goes, it's okay. I mean, I like the design well enough. I'll be honest, I'm probably going to skip this one. Well, any one of the three designs in the army builder space, just because it doesn't. There's like a function that it doesn't necessarily fill for me in the way that I collect. However, that said, I can absolutely see why that would be appealing, and some of the detail that's in there is really extraordinary. I mean, if the 6-inch version of the figure turns out to have, you know, the trimmings around the webbings and the belt, and like look at the knee pads and the boots, if that stuff comes to life in 6-inch form, and then all this fabric texture, I mean, look at the way it's sort of pulled tight around his groin, and the little textured details around the belly and on the top of the arms there, you know, and around the face mask and stuff as well, just really awesome. So if that comes to life in 6-inch form, which I suspect it will, based on my experience with the Operation Monster Force stuff, which definitely had the sculpt detail that the digital renders sold us on, then that's going to be amazing. And of course, we can be somewhat confident that we're going to get the same level of quality as we got with the Operation Monster Force stuff that dropped last year, and keep saying this year, because this head swap over here is the exact same head sculpt as on the Delta Red head swaps, the Delta Red operatives from Wave 1 of the Operation Monster Force. So clearly the you know, there's elements of design in there that's exactly the same. They're making reuse, and I suspect a lot of these hands have been reused as well. Which, by the way, are freaking awesome. We've got a thumbs up, a pointy hand, a grabby hand, a punchy hand, a holdy weapon hand, you know, and some blast effects over here too. So all really a really awesome proposition, definitely worth the value, I believe. The 37 quid or so, a little bit more pricey than your classifieds and your Valaverses, but I think that slight bit of extra depth, that slight little bit of extra texture, and the higher quality of paint applications that we've seen with Operation Monster Force, if it's still the case with the Soldiers of Fortune, then I'm all in. We then have the very same figure in black, the Close Combat Operative, but with the black camo pattern. Possibly a little bit more attractive than the red and black camo one, because it just sort of makes a little bit more common sense. Unless you're like me and balmy stuff appeals to you. You know what I mean? Wait until we have a look at the next guy. But, you know, I like the red and black one and the next one for the same reason I like an Alley Viper, you know what I mean? But I can see this one being super popular because this is like a kit basher's dream, isn't it? This one, an absolute customizer's dream. Just a whole, just good old fashioned kind of combat sneaky operative dude, all the gear in black, everything just, you know, slam it on your other 6-inch lines, the helmets, the face masks. You get lots of kind of cross line usage out of this one, just loads of sort of generic appeal. Again, I'm probably not going to bother because I'm not looking for another army builder figure of this nature in my collection, but it's head turning to say the least. And then we got this dude, the yellow Close Combat Operative, who's going to have to be a Close Combat Operative, frankly, because the only way this guy can be even remotely effective is if they've seen him already, which they will do, you know what I mean? I like this one because it's just crazy balmy. I may even pick one of these up, not to army build or anything, but just because the madness of that yellow uniform and the striking splash of colour really appeals to me. If it's that vivid and yellow, I might just buy one for the novelty of the madness of that. However, it is clearly the exact same figure as the red black camo one, the black camo one, you know, so we've got these three army builders in this wave here, you know, which is fine. And again, all my comments remain the same as the stuff I said with the red black camo one. Then we have this guy here, the saboteur. Saboteur. I said that weird. It's like one of those words now that, as I say it, it just feels weird in the mouth. Saboteur. Anyway, the saboteur. But here he is. This one's a curious one to me. It does actually like give me a little twinge, only because, you know, and I'm loath to kind of put it out there and say it too loud, but there's echoes of kind of the IRA in this character design that tickles me a bit funny, you know, as a guy who lives in Manchester in the United Kingdom. However, I can look beyond that because, it looks like a great looking figure. I mean, the design of the figure itself is just really awesome. The legs are the same, the knee pads are the same, but he's got this great kind of practical jacket here, all sculpted detail. This is, of course, his reuse of the Sleepwalker figures from Operation Monster Force. Got this really intimidating, mean-ass balaclavaed head with two, you got the two versions, so you can have your ethnic origin of choice there. So it's just a good-looking figure. I know that jacket is well sculpted and well put together because it's the same one as the Operation Monster Force one. But then interesting gear. We've got the baseball bat, the shotgun here. Nice looking kind of shotgun. Got a couple of sticks of dynamite, which again are just generically useful for the collection. RPG launcher and the interchangeable hands. Not quite as much stuff as you get in with the close combat operatives, which is a shame, but still an interesting character, and just perhaps one that you could get a wealth of usage out of across all your 6-inch lines. Kind of like what I was saying with the Legacy Firefighter in G.I. Joe Classified, that you can sort of, you can find a place for that in a Marvel Legends display or diorama that you're putting together. You can find a place for it with your Valaverse guys, and that's the same with this Saboteur. So I may pick this one up just as a kind of single generic kind of villain trooper guy who can be taking punches and getting taken down by any number of my 6-inch lines that I pick up. The only disappointment with that is I don't feel like the accessory selection is quite as expansive and interesting and value adding as with the close combat operative. And then to finish up the line, we've got another character here, or another figure called the Agent. Two versions of this. I've got the one that's described as the Enemy on screen right now, but we'll have a quick look at the Spy in a second. This is in a light blue suit. This one is clearly notable because of this, the masked head. Reuse again. Well, I say reuse again. That's the same design as the Order of the Crimson Moon head, masked head, but obviously drawing incredibly heavy inspiration from the Cobra Commander character, even down to the blue color scheme. So certainly notable on that front there. But then, just a straight up suited character. This suit design, again, is being used in Operation Monster Force with another character. In fact, actually, almost wholesale, all the component parts of this figure are reuse book from, what's it called in Operation Monster Force? The Black Watch security guard or something like that, or the Blackwater agent? No, Blackwater's legit is the real thing, isn't it? Or is Blackwater anyway? So it's all the same, but it's a generically useful figure. I mean, just a good quality suited figure. Nice colour, good textures again. Look at the way it's pulled tight over that middle button there. Love that. And the creases up at the top of the sleeves line there. Good generic black sunglassed agent-y face, Got the guns, again, good quality guns, designed and supplied by Gridiron Studios. Got the blast effects, got the hand swaps. The only thing that I will point out, and the little laser pistol, is that if the body sculpt is the same as the Operation Monster Force stuff that I've got in hand, which I suspect it will be, because it's obviously reusing tooling, sculpted parts from the line that they've announced already, then you'll not be able to do the head swap of that masked head onto your Cobra Commander figure without a little bit of modding, because the ball joint in the head is different. It's bigger and chunkier on the Operation Monster Force stuff than it is on the G.I. Joe Classified. Or is it the other way around? Anyway, it's different. I know for a fact it's different because I tried swapping a few heads around to test it out. But, same with the Saboteur, same with the close combat operative. Good, solid, generic character to have in your collection as just a 6-inch character to have around. That guy could fit in on a, you know, bank robbery scene that Superman is foiling, or Spider-Man's foiling. You know, he could fit in as a, you know, a civilian in any number of sort of dioramas, photographs that you want to take, displays you want to create. But then equally, you can have him hooded up, leading your Vipers, if you so choose. Not that that was Fresh Monkey Fiction's intention. I believe that this is just a happy coincidence, of course. So yeah, I like the look of this one. And then I said there was 2 versions of the agent. Here's the other version of the agent, which is the tuxedoed version. This one's called the Spy in black tuxedo. Again, a great looking figure, interesting. It's got character, it's got personality. You know, we can all kind of imprint our sort of James Bond perspective, James Bond love onto this fig here. 2 different ethnic origins. Once again, we've got the black guy there with and a full set of hand swaps and the head for the black version of the Spy, or we've got the white version of the Spy with the white hand swaps as well, the Caucasian version. Obviously implying something a little bit more nefarious, I feel, with the white-headed, that flash of blonde hair and the eye patch. Speaks of, you know, ex-Nazi hiding in Argentina for me. Argentina? Oh my God. I've really got to stop recording these videos so late at night. Can't talk. But yeah, loving, you know, the cards, the cigarette smoking hand swaps there, all to add to your storytelling, all to allow you to explore and play around with the kind of posing and stuff. You've then got the classic Walter PPK with a little silencer on it. And then you've got the case up here, which is again just another useful generic thing to have in the bits box. So you can once again use it for your own storytelling with the Soldiers of Fortune within the Operation Monster Force Fresh Monkey Fiction kind of narrative stuff, or you can get this and utilize it in your, you know, your other storytelling that you're doing with your other 6-inch lines, and I think that's really awesome. You know, I think that's really awesome. And this is definitely one, yeah, you know, that I might just pick up one of. And, you know, you can option to swap the heads and get the head on this guy, you know, get that head and pop that on here instead if you want to mix and match it up. Or, you know, put your, when Baron Ironblood comes, or whatever the Operation Monster Force, Crimson Order of the Crimson Moon version of that character is, pop that head on. You know, the kind of kit bash customizing, world building stuff that you can do is really, really interesting to me. I think it's really interesting to me. While they're doing their own thing, they've obviously identified a little kind of space in the marketplace that you can fill in here. And what's also particularly nice about them is that it just goes sort of wider. It expands the breadth and the depth of the type of storytelling you can do. So like when you think about Valiverse, for example, creating his own story, creating his own lore, that's all fine. More power to Bobby around that. Absolutely. Some folks are really into that. I generally just use Valiverse to complement my G.I. Joe Classified series. That's also cool as well. And use them as sort of, you know, fill-in characters or additional characters. But at that point, they sort of become generic soldiery people. Whereas this this Soldiers of Fortune stuff, which is Operation Monster Force, it kind of expands the breadth and depth and the world in which you can habit with that stuff, because they're in suits, you know, they're in tuxedos, they're fighting, you know, dodgy terrorist-style saboteurs, you know what I mean? Which I think is really, really interesting and very attractive. So there you go then, folks, the Soldiers of Fortune. Did I say 5 figures before? It's 6 figures. 6 figures available for pre-order now. If you're in the US, you want BigBadToyStore. If you're in the UK, you want Kapow Toys. I'll put links to both their pages for these figures in the description down below. But just to finish up, you know, I've kind of ranted on about it. I think it's occupying a really interesting space, this Soldiers of Fortune line. It's occupying a really interesting space for the wider Fresh Monkey Fiction thing, but also occupying a really interesting space for just general kind of 6-inch collector lines, not just military lines, but you know, across the spectrum of stuff, superheroes, supernatural monsters, whatever. And I've become so excited by the Operation Monster Force stuff that I'm really watching this stuff unfold with interest, and, you know, considering some probably more heavy pre-order volumes than I should be doing. In any case, there's my little rundown and my view of what's going on there with Soldiers of Fortune. Please, again, I'll reiterate, head down to the comment below. Let's get into conversation about me. Tell me what your thoughts are. What do you find attractive about them? What do you find not attractive about them? Am I talking bobbins? Am I talking cents? All that good stuff. It's fine. I love hearing from you guys and what your thoughts are. In the meantime, thank you so very much for hanging out with me once again. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, do the YouTubery stuff. But all that remains to say is have a great day. Have a great week, and I'll see you around these parts again sometime soon. All right, folks, take it easy.